Hello and welcome to Abbey Adventures. This is our 2006 Winnebago View 23 or 24J. And she is well loved and well traveled. As you can see, she is, we'd like to think of her as a classic. So here is the exterior. She has seen lots of road time, so chips and this and that in the paint. But we'll just go around and we'll check out all the features. This is a storage compartment that can be used for lightweight stuff. Again, all of these are operated by spinning the handles and pulling out. It does have a little safety latch so that it doesn't come undone while driving down the road. And I just lift here. Its original purpose was a cooler, but since there's no insulation on it, it makes for very poor. And then again, just remember to flip the latches back the opposite direction when you are done. This is an outdoor 110 outlet when you're plugged into electricity or running the generator. This here is the water cap. Anytime you're filling, I refer to it as the burper, but it allows the air in the lines to escape so that the water can actually fill. And it does need the small silver key to open it and to close it as well. This is your hot water heater. No need to worry about that. It runs on the propane. Again, it cautions you that it is hot, so please be mindful. This is the under the bed storage that is accessed through the outside. I just pull up on the latch. We'll see if it's unlocked. And everything is operated with spring gas shocks, I should say. And then that's the bed there. Here's the storage area. No need to worry about any of these valves or anything under here. There is a light you can turn on. This is your freshwater hose for filling the tanks or for connecting to the water at the campsite. You will want to make sure that this is locked, especially when away from the vehicle, because it does have access to the inside. Not to mention anything you have stored in there. Usually we'll keep 4 camp chairs in there and whatever else you may want to store in there. This here is another compartment. This is where the generator is, so this won't be something that you access too often, but it is also where the truck blocks are, should you need to level out. As you can see them there. Don't know if anybody has used them anytime recently. Most places are fairly flat surfaced. Again, closing these. So I'm working our way around the back of the rig. This is a ladder. Please do not access this ladder. There's no need to access the roof for anything unless there's an issue arising. Even then, the roof is a very sensitive area, so please don't access it. Not recommended to walk up there. Can be things you can damage. There's the fan covers and stuff that can be easily broken. So again, unless there's something major going wrong up there, we just ask that you refrain from climbing the ladder. Here's your spare tire. We ask that you use roadside service or AAA when needing to replace a tire. A hitch for bike racks or small trailers with permission. We would need to approve what you're towing. It does have very limited towing capabilities, so we just want to make sure that we don't overload the vehicle. This compartment down here is the most sacred and special of all compartments, as it is where you will find stuff for dump. And open on all of these latches. One side again, one of them is always lockable with a key. And this is where you will fill your freshwater tank, as well as access the hose for dumping the gray and black. So this is your hose. We assume that everybody follows instructions for cleaning it out after dumping every time. So we assume that it is decently clean. No guarantee, so always take caution when removing it from the compartment. You will see there are some gloves that have been left behind. A lot of road dust as well in there. But this is where you're going to fill the freshwater tank when you run out. Now remember, you don't need to keep the freshwater tank filled if you're going to be having services at an RV park. So if they have water, electric, and sewer, then you don't need to worry about it. A lot of places offer just electric and water, and you're fine there as well. So here we have a valve. If you're going to fill, you hook up the hose here. We made a little extension here, so it's a lot easier to access. It was a real short nub in there, so this just is an extender to make it easier to access. So if you're going to fill the tank, and I try to make sure that it's full prior to your departure, you have to turn this knob to tank fill. Okay, if you don't have that to tank fill, you're not going to fill. You're going to sit there and there's your build pressure, but you're not going to fill the water tank. Okay, and then finish filling, turn off the water, then remember to turn it back to normal. If you do not turn it back to normal, you will not build any water pressure in the tank, and you'll have very, very limited water in the motorhome. So just remember, turn it to tank fill when you're filling, turn it back to normal for regular usage. Here is a switch for the water pump. The water pump also has a switch, an on-off switch inside the rig. If sometimes when putting the hose away, things will get shuffled, or when you're filling the tank, this can get bumped. You can accidentally get turned off. If it's in the off position, you won't get any pressure. So always just check this to make sure this one's on, and to make sure the one inside the house is on as well. Every problem we've ever had with water pressure has had to do with making sure this is on normal and that the water pump is on. Water pump does not need to be on when you're actually just hooked up to water. If you're hooked up to water services at a park, don't need to worry about the water pump. And remember, when you are filling, remember the little door we talked about on the other side. You need to open that to be able to fill. So you turn that to tank fill and open the little door on the other side so that it can release the air that's in the line. Okay, now to the most fun part of this whole trip you'll be on. This is your black and your gray water. Okay, so this is your black water release. Black is everything that comes from the toilet. Okay, your gray water is everything that comes from the sink and the shower. The sinks and the shower, the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, and then the shower. So all that water. So what you want to do is you want to get this end of this hose that we pulled out. Okay, it hooks up here. This is the cap you're going to want to remove. And be careful, because sometimes there's a little bit of fallout there. Yeah, there's a little bit of liquid there. Hopefully it's just the gray water. Okay, I'll empty it out. Yeah, and then that's where you're gonna hook up. Yeah, that's where you're gonna hook up this end of the hose, right? Just like I put the cap on is how you're gonna do the hose. And you're gonna hook that up there. And then you're gonna take the other end, this end of the hose, and you're gonna place it in, generally there's a hole in the ground at the dump site. Dump station, sanitation station, there's lots of names they call them. Sometimes they're at your individual site. A lot of times there'll be rest stops that have them. So that just goes in the hole in the ground. You always dump the black water first. So you will pull up on this, pull up, and then when you hear it slow or stop flowing, then you'll shut it down, and then you'll pull the gray water. And that gray water will flush the hose as it's going down. So it kind of helps to clean out the crud from the black water. And then when you're done, close the gray water, remove that end of the hose from underneath, put the cap back on, and then you're gonna take that hose, your freshwater hose, or a lot of times they'll have a hose at the dump station, and you're going to rinse down here to make sure that it's clean for the next person, and you know, no surprises for the next person in line, and yourself when you're putting the hose away back in here, because it can dribble if not properly cared for. So enough of that. Again, these are on gas shocks. Again, flip them around to lock it back down. This right here is your electrical hose. Your electrical cord. I suppose it could be a hose. So here you can see that it is plugged in, not all the way. Let's show you all the way. So there's plugged in all the way. So this is plugged into the motorhome itself. And this is when you're running the generator, you need to be plugged into yourself. Otherwise the generator just runs, generates electricity, but it doesn't actually flow anywhere. So if you're running the generator to power something in the motorhome, it must always be plugged into itself here. Otherwise it's just kind of spinning its wheels, kind of like that hamster on the wheel there. If you're going to plug into external power, you're going to unplug it and just plug it in wherever you're going, right? If you're going to be stopped at someone's home for any length of time and want to, I'm just going to plug it back in there for now. There's an adapter that will allow you to just plug into a regular 110 outlet. So you just plug that head into this one here, and then you plug this end into your 110 outlet. This is a 30 amp, and of course your 110 plugs are 15, 20 amps. I'm not quite exactly sure. I'm not the electrician in the family, just the Trish. Okay, I know, bad joke. Bad joke. Okay. So then, if you're somewhere, you're plugged in for a long time, you just pull the head through, and then your cord can just feed through there. Kind of keeps it clean, up and out of the way. This is your ventilation for your refrigerator. And this right here is the slide out, or the pop out as some people like to call it. And that's just an awning to protect the top of the slide out. And so the slide out is obviously in here. It's ready to run down the road. And we'll show you what's under these, door number 1 and door number 2. So the only reason you'll really need to access this one, and for some reason this one does not have a gas shock, but this is where you're going to refill your propane. This is your propane tank. We make sure that it's full for you when you pick it up, and so we just ask that you make sure it's full when you return it. Same with the diesel. If it's full, we ask you to bring it back full as well. We try to make sure everything's all ready for you to go. Now the propane runs the refrigerator when you're not on electric or generator. It runs the hot water heater when you're not on generator or electric. It also does your stove top And it also runs the generator itself. So very important. The only thing that runs off the diesel is the engine. So anything else that's fueled by gas is fueled by this propane here. And just take it any place where they fill propane tanks. You know, obviously not a trade-in you can take and just trade in the tank. But yeah, this it's real simple. If ever after filling you don't have anything in the rig, you just need to turn on that the silver, the non-yellow knob there. Sometimes they fail to turn those back on. And sometimes you have to bleed the line after. Nothing under there that you need to access. Here is the driver's side door. Nothing special about it, right? You do have to give a little tug on them. And you'll notice it is diesel fuel. You do have to open the door to access the fuel door, but you can close it once you have it open. Got another green cap to remind you it's diesel. It says diesel around there. We also got another sticker right there and another sticker right there. So we just want to make sure. It's a very expensive mistake should you put gasoline in a diesel. This here is your diesel fuel only sticker as well. Seats have so many adjustments here. It kind of sits like a box truck seat. It has really nice adjustments. This is your back and forth for the top of the seat. Then you got moving the bottom of the seat up and down, both sides of it, and then sliding it forward. You got traditional slider bar there, so all kinds of movements. Also, both of these seats swivel around to become part of the house. So they join the living room per se, the dining room. You pull up. You got to make sure that the emergency brake is not on. And then you just pull up on this here. You hear it release. And forgive me while I spin it around. Then you just, sorry. You just spin it around, but it's hard for me too. So you just pull up that and turn it towards the back of the cab. Okay. All right, this here is your cruise control. Little dainty knob here. Push down to set and move up and down to either reduce or increase your speed. This here is your battery boost. It's kind of a redundant feature so that you should never be stranded anywhere due to loss of power. So should you kill the cab battery, I need to start the engine, I just hit battery boost and then turn it on and away I go. Radio power runs it either on the engine or the house. Typical Mercedes climate control knobs there. Okay, automatic here. So the Bluetooth on the stereo. There's your pickup. So if you're talking, that's where you need to direct your voice. Okay, so for locking, you can push in while you're inside. It does also work with the key fob. And there's also the lock button that operates most of them here. Okay, lock and unlock. Okay, so moving on around. Of course, mirrors are adjustable by hand. However you need to adjust them, either in or out, somewhat. Okay. And a nice big windshield. And we're back to the front. Gonna take a quick little tour on the inside. Beware of the dog. It's been there, so the steps come down automatically every time you open and close the door, unless you turn them off. Right here you can do that, step off. If you're gonna be somewhere for a while, turn it off so it doesn't wear down the motor and waste battery. And then porch light, scene light. All the lights in this rig are operated by switch. There is nothing on the actual lights that you need to be worried about. So we've already talked about the cab, so that's what we call the cab. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to extend, I'm gonna turn on these lights. Oh, gotta turn on the, this is where we turn on the battery. So the house battery is off. And I think it's dead. I did not, oh, must be dead. Let me turn the generator on. Generator, you come in here. Oop. And the battery is dead.